the quarterbacks were Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Watson. For me, I don't really see any like bad picks there. I think all those guys those guys all earned it and respectively. I think some people in the media have been saying Tannehill could have made it. I still would say Watson should have made it over him, but Tannehill's like, if he makes it in as an alternative, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, for me, that's the only guy I would say. Tannehill is the only guy that even has an argument. But those three are pretty set. Maybe Justin Herbert too. But I feel like those three are pretty set. The three of them are awesome. They're really great players, and they're probably going to be the AFC Pro Bowl quarterbacks for a while. So
yeah. Next position, so running back, we had Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, and Josh Jacobs. So for me, the first two, like no doubt about it, they're 1 and 2 in rushing yards, Henry and Chubb. For me, I don't know if Josh Jacobs should have made it. I know he is a really phenomenal player, but the man did average 3.7 yards a carry this year. And someone like, I know the chat's been saying James Robinson, he's had an awesome year. He's been, he came in as an undrafted free agent this year, and he's been phenomenal. He's been phenomenal this year for the Jaguars offense. He's kind of like the one like bright spot that they have for the future. So I could see him over Jacobs, but Jacobs is not bad at all. Like Jacobs is a good player.
Yeah, so Jacobs is a really good player, but he's not having a great season, especially by his standards and the expectations he created in his rookie season. I know he's been banged up, and their offensive line has had some COVID issues, but I'd agree with you. The first two are for sure in. Those two are two of the best running backs in the NFL, and Jacobs is one of the better running backs in the NFL. But I think James Robinson's had a phenomenal season, and I guess that's kind of the problem when you play for Jacksonville and your team's only won one game. Even though Jacksonville has been competitive in a lot of these games because of James Robinson, you just don't get that type of fanfare or that type of voting. But I think he should have been a Pro Bowler this year.
For sure. Next, we have the receivers, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, and A.J. Brown. What do you think? Are you fine with all those? I'm pretty good with all of them. A.J. Brown was kind of a surprise. He's amazing, don't get me wrong. He's one of the younger guys, though. I wasn't really sure if he'd make it or not.
So I think that the first two, Diggs and Tyreek, are no-brainers, right?
Yeah.
Diggs and Tyreek are having phenomenal years. Keenan Allen, for me, maybe there's an argument for another guy, but he's also just a terrific player. I'd argue instead of A.J. Brown, his teammate should have made it, Corey Davis. A.J. Brown is better than Corey Davis, but Corey Davis, in my opinion, is having the better season, and he's also a really good player. In my opinion, Corey Davis should have gotten the Pro Bowl nod over A.J. Brown.
And someone who just kind of popped into my head, but who is having a great year, he had to sit out for 6 games, was Will Fuller. I think if he played throughout, he could have been someone who, he's been amazing this year. He's been really good. If he didn't get, suspended for PEDs, I honestly think he would have made it over A.J. Brown. But A.J. Brown is amazing in his own right. I'm just surprised. Usually they don't really have like second-year guys, actually make the team. It's kind of hard for that to happen. So
right,
we'll see how he does. Next position, we had tight end. So Travis Kelce and Waller.
There's nobody else that can make it.
Yeah, that's really not to debate about. Fullback, Peyton Richard. I honestly don't know much about him. Patrick Ricard, okay. I don't know too much about him, honestly.
So he's the Ravens fullback. The Ravens are one of the few teams that consistently uses a fullback. So it's kind of a Kyle Juszczyk case where he's a really good fullback and he's the only fullback everybody knows about. So he makes the Pro Bowl like that. I also don't know. Maybe there's another fullback having a really great season. Unfortunately, I haven't been paying attention to the fullbacks. So I know Patrick Ricard is a good player. And the Ravens' run game, though it hasn't been the same as last year, it's still very good. And I understand why he made the Pro Bowl.
Yep. Next, we have the tackle position. So Laramie Tunsil, Eric Fisher, and Orlando Brown. For me, there's one guy who sticks out, and it's Eric Fisher on the Chiefs. I think he's really been getting into the Pro Bowl due to his draft stock and being on the Chiefs. He's really not that great of a left tackle, to be quite honest with you. In that Saints game, he was getting just blown up
Sure.
by Hendrickson. He did simply not look good. The guy on the other side is the guy who's actually amazing on the Chiefs O-line. He's the right tackle.
And he's hurt.
Yep. So I would say Eric Fisher could probably be sub for someone. Tunsil and Orlando Brown are really good tackles, though.
Yeah, I mean, big Orlando Brown and Tunsil, again, work for me. I'm with you on Eric Fisher. I think Eric Fisher, his numbers in terms of giving up sacks looks a lot better because Mahomes is so nimble in the pocket and moves so well. So he makes this offensive line look better than it is. Eric Fisher, to me, I mean, the Super Bowl, just go watch what Nick Bosa did to Eric Fisher. Nick Bosa absolutely destroyed Eric Fisher. Mitchell Schwartz, I agree, is the superstar in that offensive line. I think I think that's the only kind of weakness I see in the Chiefs roster. And if Schwartz comes back, there's really no weakness. So yeah, I'm with you. As a replacement for him, I don't really have a guy off the top of my head, but maybe a Jedrick Wills. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a good rookie season.
Tackles like Braden Smith or
Costanzo.
Next, we have the guard position. So Quentin Nelson, Joel Bitonio, and David DeCastro. And this was one guy or one position who we thought Wyatt Teller, the other Browns guard, was a huge snub. He's debatably been the best guard in the whole league. He's been outstanding. I could see him in over even his own teammate, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the name that sticks out is David DeCastro. And DeCastro has been a Pro Bowl player for a long time, but he's no longer a Pro Bowl player. Wyatt Teller is maybe the best guard in the NFL. I know PFF feels that way, and I'm not always agreeing with PFF, but they grade him as the best guard in the NFL. And the Browns' offensive line has been mauling people. Him and Bitonio both deserve to make the Pro Bowl.
Yep. Next position, we have the centers. So Marquise Pouncey and Ryan Kelly. So for me, Pouncey is a surefire. Like he's been living off the name Pouncey for years. He really wasn't that good this year. Two guys, or at least two guys. One guy I thought was J.C. Treader, who's on the Browns. He actually he came over from the Packers coincidentally, and he was pretty good for us, and he's been even better for the Browns. And then is there anyone else, Fish, that you think?
Yeah, the Raiders center, Rodney Hudson, who might be the best center in the NFL. I agree with you with the J.C. Treader. I mean, the Packers are so good at developing offensive linemen. Geez. But, yeah, not to go off topic. Yeah, Rodney Hudson is a phenomenal player. He might be the best center in the NFL. He's excellent. It's sad that he didn't make the Pro Bowl. I get Ryan Kelly, but to me, Marquise Pouncey is nowhere near a Pro Bowler anymore.
Kelly was a good center, right? Like Kelly was part of a great line. So like I'm not really mad with him getting in, but I just don't think Pouncey is all that great. So
no, not anymore.